Thank you, Emily. We are getting some new insight tonight into just how heavy those rains were Friday night that sent the Grand River over its banks in Ionia County, forcing more than 1,000 concertgoers to abandon their cars at the B93 birthday bash and forcing the evacuation of nearly 80,000 people. Let's get to 24-hour News 8's Jessica Leffler.
We're at the Ionia County Fairgrounds. Take a look at the river. You can see that it's still flooded over its banks. We got some data from the National Weather Service. This graph shows that it has crested, but it's going to be several days before it returns to normal.
In the Holland area, we had excess rainfall of over a 100-year event. So, I mean, the whole event, and that trained right up the Grand River. So that later became into Ionia.
Record rainfall, the perfect storm. Employees with the National Weather Service say they were not in contact with birthday bash organizers when they realized on Saturday morning the river would flood.
We were communicating as best we could to local emergency management what we knew at the time. And I don't know how that played out with communication between the local officials then and B93.
Reps with B93 say they followed the Weather Service forecast from Friday night and early 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. Meteorologists with National Weather Service say they changed the forecast an hour after that last check.
It's on the internet, it's on web, it's unfortunate that folks were surprised, because if you knew where to go and the web pages to look at, the information was out there. And we had updated forecasts for this event at 5 o'clock in the morning. The gauge that's right behind me, this is actually the United States Geological Survey's gauge.
This gauge measures the water levels of the river, which at its crest was 18.5 feet. Now it's dropped slightly and it's down to 17.9 feet.
During the critical time that they were dealing with the parking and all that kind of stuff, the river was literally rising 1/2 foot per hour. Its normal rise is about 1/10 of a foot per hour. So it was rising literally 5 times faster than normal.
The Weather Service says rain fell almost directly over and upstream of the Grand River. And it wasn't the Weber Dam in Ionia County to blame for additional water. It was a different water source.
Got smacked with intensive rainfall, and then that came into the Grand River right above Ionia, and that probably accounted for almost, we were estimating about 2 to 3 additional feet rise in the Grand River just from the contribution of the Maple River.
We've been all over this story since the storms broke on Friday night. We're going to continue to cover it throughout the week in Ionia. I'm Jessica Leffler, 24-hour News 8.
The radio station B93 says it is creating a plan for concert goers to get their cars back. They will announce that tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We will have that information for you as soon as we get it. Brian?